prisoner. You should know I never double back. Won't you hear my plea? I need somebody, yeah, to listen to me. I beg you, brothers and sisters, I'm counting on you, yeah. Black babies in the womb, shackled and bound, chained by the caveman who keeps beauty down, smacked on the ass when they're squalling and wet, heir to a spineless man who never forgets that he's a prisoner. Can't you hear my plea? 'Cause I need somebody, Lord knows, to listen to me. I'm a stranger to my son who wonders why his daddy runs, yeah.
Peace and love, family. Welcome again to the NAPPC podcast. I'm Brother Frank, and I'm with former political prisoner
Abdul Haq Islam.
Today's episode, we focus on the legacy and lessons of Winnie Mandela. You know, this is International Working Women's Month, and this is our first part of a multiple-part series dedicated to the power and the examples of strong international working women. We have to continue to be inspired through their examples of fighting. We're from a long history of resistance, so we have to understand that clearly. So we're talking about Winnie Mandela, we're talking about a former political prisoner, we're talking about a wife of a former political prisoner, Nelson Mandela, who, when he was released, became president of South Africa. So we have to look at her environment. We look at where she was raised and what she fought up against. You know, her career of activism had started after, from my understanding, from my research, and you know, I can be challenged, and I'm up for the challenge. But it started after 1965, when she finished school, and she was given a scholarship to go to the United States, but she chose to stay home. That lets you know the desire and the love that she had to advance her people. She wanted to do what she needed to do near. And so she was a social worker at a hospital. So she started to understand the conditions that were going on. She grew up in apartheid. But anybody who knows what apartheid is, you understand the seriousness and the intense oppression that existed in South Africa during this time, because they had hundreds of laws that were dedicated to, or designed rather, to keep people restricted. And she was one of the many people that was restricted. So we're going to talk about her and talk about the impact that her life has on women everywhere, and the importance to carry on her legacy, not just by knowing who she is, but actually being a part of organized action, especially when it comes to our political prisoners who have sacrificed so much. Next to martyrs, they are sacrificed the most. And we got to be clear on that, and we got to be consistent with talking about them. So for those who are viewing, please share with at least 10 people. Get involved in the work. Contact me personally at 347-679-3936. And I got some work for you to do. I want to hear from you and learn about your talents. Abdul Haq Islam.
Peace and love, beloved brothers and sisters out there. Give respect and honor to our sister, our warrior queen, Winnie Mandela, who stands tall in history with other warrior queens like Nahanda, Yaa Asantewaa, Queen Nzinga, you know, who beat back the European colonizers. You know, Winnie fought hard, fought a valiant struggle, you know, very, very militant sister, strong sister. Some people argue that she did more even than her husband Nelson Mandela to free South Africa. South Africa, you know, it's good to explain to people why political people fight and why political prisoners fought. South Africa had the greatest reserves of gold, platinum, titanium, manganese, and other rich minerals, you know. And you know, when a nation has rich minerals like this, you know, it makes the devil go crazy, you know, in his insanity and cruelty and murderous nature. You know, the white supremacy, you know, they don't even try to hide it when there's a rich natural resource to be stolen and robbed. And Winnie Mandela, you know, fought fearlessly. You know, was a great influencer among the youth, the radical youth, the strong youth, raising hell in the street in South Africa. You know, Winnie Mandela was banned. You know, she was not allowed to speak, but she spoke anyway, according to her husband. You know, she stood by her husband while he was in jail for 27 years. She had travel restrictions on her. The enemy really understood the power of Sister Winnie Mandela, and she is well loved among, you know, revolutionaries today. And it's because of her struggle, you know, that apartheid came to an end. America, you know, was down and dirty supporting apartheid. So, you know, America can talk about it, believes in justice, you know, and all these myths like that, but America supported apartheid. You know, the racist nature of America, you know, is the same thing took place in South Africa. So we salute women. You know, a lot of times, you know, we talk about brothers, we talk about men, but women, you understand, have played a very valiant role, very valuable role in the history of our people for liberation. You know, Winnie Mandela, salute.
Yeah, so when we're looking at a career that spanned over 3 decades, a career of activism, that is, that regardless of what the oppression was, she understood that she had to stand up for her people, for her land. You know, she is in solidarity with the ideas of Malcolm X, ideas being that land is the basis of independence. So we know that, you know, she had influence on others who would come after her. And so at her funeral, it was over 4,000 people were in attendance. And these attendants were people who understood what she stood for. They were admitting that they had solidarity with her, and they understood what her position was regarding the land, right? Because we have to look at what's going on with South Africa now, and we got to look at what if Winnie Mandela was president, right? If she was president, how things would have changed. And I think that that's something that we have to understand, because in 2024, when any and everywhere that there's a crisis is based on land. I say when there's a political crisis, right? Whether that's locally, nationally, or internationally, wherever there's a crisis amongst the people, is because one person or a group of people, they want to control the land and its resources. And we have to understand that clearly so we can appreciate Winnie Mandela more. So we can understand that, you know, it's a fight. It's a strong fight. It's a vicious fight. Some mistakes are going to be made, and then you have to evaluate the mistakes, the errors. Some ideas have to be challenged, and you have to intensify those ideas, right? Some people want to be light on the idea of land, but, you know, it's going to come up, right? You don't want to be independent just so you can wave a flag. You want to be independent so you can control your destiny. And that's what Winnie Mandela stood for. So regardless of what her oppressor was coming at her with, they wanted to restrict her. They did restrict her, but she found ways to get around that. They want people to be penalized for quoting her. Then, you know, she got through that. Whatever was going to happen, whatever attack was going to happen to her, she was going to continue to fight. And I think she did. I think she set the example for our sisters now that are involved in organizing work, that are making that commitment and need an idea or need a model to duplicate. She's one that should be duplicated, because regardless of what the pressure is going to be, you're going to have to make that commitment to what you're going to stand for the duration of your life. You know, she was a mother, and she understood that she had to think about her children, and she was part of a community, right? That communal idea that is very powerful when it's internalized. It has to be expressed in practice. It has to be understood that you're going to go outside and you're going to look at the world, and based on how the world is in existence, you're going to decide that you have to make some decision about what you need to do and how you need to go about doing it. Winnie Mandela did that, and she did that very well. So when I look at pictures of her, and when I hear her speak, and when I hear her relationship between her and her former husband, Nelson Mandela, I'm looking at the conditions that they were living in, and I'm asking myself, you know, what would you have done in those situations, right? How far would you be willing to go? And I ask myself that many times. That's why this platform is so important. So we ask that you share with at least 10 people, and you know, raise some questions to us so we can address those questions on our upcoming episodes, so we can be better at doing our work. If you had to teach people about Winnie Mandela, a classroom, what would you tell them in terms of what they should get from her legacy?
Well, I tell them that, you know, Black people, you know, we cannot be little timid, scared creatures, you know, that we have to stand up for what we believe in, you know, that we have to have honor, you know, integrity, you know, because we must exhibit those human qualities that make history. People have the power to make things happen. We don't sit around and wait for the enemy to be nice to us. Everything we've ever gained in this world as Black people, we gained through fighting. You know, the enemy ain't never gave us nothing. You know, so I would tell our young people that our young people through history is who has made things happen. You know, and that the young people must take up this mantle, you know, with courage, with honor, dignity, and self-respect, and to put forth the full power of our people. You understand? Of our intellect, you know, of our intelligence, you know, our ability to know and understand and lead and organize. You know, we cannot just feel bad and cry, you know, and lay in the corner and feel sorry for ourselves. We must work. You know, that's what Winnie Mandela did. She constantly worked, got things done. You know, elected the head of the parliament. You know, head of the women's chapter of the ANC. You know, in science, culture, technology. You know, in these type of fields. You know, she excelled. So I would tell our children to excel, you know, to not be satisfied with a C minus, but to always struggle for A+ in life. And that's what Winnie Mandela did, you know, in terms of everything she did, her accomplishments, her life, her work, you know, her militancy. You know, she had a very, very powerful militancy, you know, so to be like her, to be militant, yes, you know, yes, to not bow down to oppression and injustice, but to stand tall, taller than the tallest tree. You understand? You know, and fight for our rights. You know, remember how in South Africa the tremendous wealth that drove the devil crazy. You know, the terrible conditions in South Africa, you know, the threats to the life, you know, and to the safety. And she stood up in spite of all that. So I would tell our youth to stand up, you know, in a manner that you can stand up. The power that you have to move forward like a hurricane against injustice and oppression. Black power.
Yes, well said. And I think, you know, it's very important that you speak the way you speak, because that's what is required when we have to do this work. You know, it's some fire that's required because it's life and death situations, and we don't always want to, we don't always accept looking at it like that, but it is, right? Because when you talk about food, clothing, shelter, and how does that relate to the land, right? And that's what she was adamant about. She was very serious about doing what needed to be done. So I think that more of us need to study her. We need to recognize her contributions, not only to her country, but to international struggles of any oppressed people anywhere. And right now, when we deal with what's going on with Palestine, I think that her example is an example of how far you have to be willing to go. You know, this fight is not going to be over today, tomorrow, or even the day after, but you have to set the examples for today and tomorrow, and by what you decide that you're going to commit yourself to. And you have to learn from the past. So when we're learning about Winnie Mandela and we're learning about what she did and what drove her to do what she had to do, then we learn what we need to do, because that's a strong example, because she was dealing with hardships. She was early in her life, you know, her family was dealing with tuberculosis. You know, we dealing with COVID. We was and we still are, and yet and still she overcame those adversities and still committed herself to the work of serving her people, the work of advocating for her people's advancement, and doing it in practice and not just theory, right? Because some people are good with articulating the problem and articulating the possible solutions, but when it comes to committing themselves to organized action to carry out an idea, then that's a whole different story. Winnie talk the talk and walk the walk, and I think that our sisters, even our brothers, need to be inspired by Winnie Mandela, because she wasn't just inspiration for women. She was inspiration for all advocates of justice. And I think in 2024, that's what the focus should be on. People like Winnie Mandela, because she embodies that Harriet Tubman spirit, that spirit of, you know, freedom or death. And she did it all her life. So when I did the research on her and learned about her and learned about certain people who would label her certain ideas, you know, saying that she was a loose cannon, I think that, you know, that didn't stop her from fighting stronger, right?
That's weak.
You know, people want to disassociate you from you because your stance is stronger than theirs, or they're not willing to go as far as you're willing to go. I think Winnie Mandela understood what her oppressor was and how you had to be, and she understood the seriousness of what they were fighting at that time, and even what they're fighting now, right? Because you know, you can't be liberal when it comes to survival. You have to be very clear on what you're fighting for. You have to make a commitment to carrying out those ideas, and you have to be willing to organize people and willing to be a part of the work. And you know, you have to pace yourself. Winnie Mandela did as much as she could in the 80+ years that she was around physically, right? But the ideas still are present, right? There's documentaries on her, there's books written on her, and people are going to take their position, right? But those who know that, you know, when it comes to a situation like what was going on in South Africa at that time, and even what's going on now, you know, you have to deal with the idea of land. And that's what Winnie Mandela was about. She was not going to be liberal when it comes to the idea of land. She understood the value of land, and she understood what the oppressor was trying to do and what they wanted to do long term. And she knew that the idea of the land had to be dealt with. You could not ignore that. So I think that it's very important to evaluate her ideas and continue to do research on her and put her where she should be put as it relates to what's going on currently. Because you know, if we don't do that, then what actually are we doing? Are we helping our people, or are we hurting our people? Are we passing our problems on to the next generation, or are we alleviating the problems of the next generation by doing work that we're doing now? So when Winnie Mandela, her name comes up, you know, her name should be right there with all those who made commitments and sacrifices, the Harriet Tubmans, the Viola Plumbers, all those who gave the majority of their lives to advance the people. You know, I know having sisters and even having female cousins, you know, I want them to learn more about Winnie Mandela. You know, there's children's books on Winnie Mandela. That should be a family discussion, you know, and then we looking at her being a wife of a former political prisoner and a political prisoner herself. Now we have to look at what's going on in 2024 regarding our political prisoners. Reverend Joy Powell, right? She's incarcerated. We need to write her. We need to say her name. We need to keep her name amongst our community, right? There's issues arising in our community that Reverend Joy Powell was about, standing and organizing for people. Mumia Abu-Jamal, he was a journalist, right? He still is a journalist, right? He's still reporting on the conditions of a people, of an oppressed people. And he's doing that from jail, from prison. And we have to continue to put his name in those discussions when you're talking about liberation and you're talking about sacrifices and you're talking about commitment. Because that's exactly what Joy Powell and Mumia Abu-Jamal and Kamal Siddiqui and Jamil Al-Amin, Imam Jamil Al-Amin represents, and so many more. You know, we can't let them die in prison. We have to stand up. We have to fight for their freedom, and we have to do it in an organized manner. We have to be there for them, just as they was there for us. And I know that, you know, the ideas that Winnie Mandela represented are still issues that are happening now. And being that she took a position, we have to take a position. So, you know, the importance of Winnie Mandela's sacrifices, how do you see that being related to the work of freeing U.S. have political prisons?
Well, I would say that the lifestyle of seeking pleasure, hedonism, being selfish, concerned about yourself, individualism, that has to be rejected, and to value those who put the people above themselves and sacrifice, knowing the results, what could happen to them, but still bravely did what they had to do, to fight the powers that be. And that's what politics is all about, fight the powers that be. So I would place value, on that type of lifestyle, and to encourage people not to get hypnotized and caught up in the spider web of seeking this American way of life, being Americans, people who don't care about nothing, but the dollar, will do anything for the dollar. You understand? To reject that, and to aspire to the higher morals in life, the higher values in life, which include, self-sacrifice, love, love for your fellow human beings, and they're willing to go all out to fight hard, for what is right. And that's what Winnie Mandela did, And so, like I said, it's good to explain to people what political prisoners fought for. Winnie Mandela was a political prisoner 17 months from 1969 to 1970, and a lot of us know about what was happening in South Africa, a very great prize, for the imperialists, there's a very great struggle that went down there that Winnie Mandela led, and was successful. And so we say when we talk about our political prisoner and politics, relationship of power, those in power who makes decisions that affect every aspect of our life. We talk about what's happening today. Today, March the 6th, my birthday.
Happy birthday, brother.
Thank you. What was in the news today? They talked about elections. They talked about Gaza. They talked about Haiti. They said that there's a great percentage of people who are uncommitted. Don't want to vote for either one. If we remember the election that what was Clinton against Trump. I think it was Mumia Abu-Jamal said that election was to select the devil versus Lucifer. Hillary Clinton. That's what Hillary Clinton. That's she worth forgetting anyway. It was an election of the devil versus Lucifer. And they're talking about the elections coming up. This year. So who do we have to choose from? Fascism, a genocide. Trump, made a statement today that he just is down and dirty with genocide as Biden is, and Trump is well known for being a fascist. So more and more fascism is coming into being. So what do you have to choose from now? Still the devil or Lucifer, So we would say that, there's three boxes. One says, one says genocide. That's one box. Another box says oppression, colonialism. The third one is for mass mobilization, what's to organize, what's to organize masses and masses and masses of our people, to make a whole bunch of noise, thunder and lightning, political thunder and lightning, demanding our rights, demanding reparations, demanding education, housing, demanding, against police brutality, demanding all those things that we have a right to as human beings, human treatment, our equality, this idea that the white race is superior to us, we got to stand up, and knock that stuff out the box. You understand? Like Mike Tyson. I was watching Mike Tyson fights, over the weekend, so So we got to knock that stuff in the head like Mike Tyson. I saw him do like this here, lean this way, and bam! That left hook and knock that dude. I forgot the dude's name. It was a dude who used to bully him when he was small. But anyway, Mike, the Truth Williams, it was Truth. But Truth Williams, yeah, Mike went like this here, bam! You know, so that's what we got to bring the truth, the reality, to organize the fight, you know, for the fight in the spirit of the people. Like Alicia Keys say, women got to be like a woman on fire. The name of the tune is Girl on Fire. I won't call them girls, but women on fire. You understand? Like Winnie Mandela, you understand? To inspire the masses, make the masses stand up strong. You understand? To love the people. You know, to convince our people to stop murdering one another, stop fighting one another. You understand? And to focus our fight on the real enemy. You know, so we inspire you sisters out there, you other women out there, to study the life of Winnie Mandela. You know, and to get down in the struggle with us. You know, and brother Frank is giving a phone number where we can be reached. You know, reaches at this podcast, you understand, and you know, as you fight for freedom, that needs financing, you know, so any financing, you know, will be appreciated also, you know, and so you know, it's good to talk to you, you know, it's good to talk to the sisters, you know, and we hope to see you, you know, coming through Sisters Place, get down with us, get down with our organizing, you know, and our fight for freedom and liberation for our people. All power to the people was called free them all.
Absolutely. So, you know, we're going to sign off, and we ask that you share with as many people as possible. Contact us at 347-679-3936 about doing some serious work. You need some information on political prisoners, I could give you the avenue to go through. Again, that's 347-679-3936. Again, that's 347-679-3936. What's the call?
Free them all.
What's the call?
Free them all.